Now, we have some specific questions for the Greater Sydney Commission as the government body charged with setting the ground rules for Sydney's affordable rental housing policy. These are the same asks we put to the Minister at the last Assembly in Eastwood on May 4. Can we please hear from the Commission what progress has been made? And we respectfully ask that you keep your answers to 3 minutes. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay. Greater Sydney Commission, can you publicly commit today to support including 30% or 3 in 10 of affordable rental housing on developments on public land?
As I explained, we're very much focused on creating greater certainty and increasing the existing level or proportion of affordable rental housing across Greater Sydney through a range of mechanisms, and that's increasing it to 5 to 10%. Our approach certainly doesn't preclude a higher proportion, but we are very cautious about striking that balance between viability and providing sufficient infrastructure to create communities. And so certainly that is a decision for government about what the appropriate balance would be for affordable rental housing on sites. And certainly we're working with the Land and Housing Corporation on some of their key sites where they're providing a greater mix of affordable rental housing, social housing and a mix of market housing to meet the needs of Greater Sydney's communities.
Okay, we're disappointed. We understand that your present perspective doesn't match ours. But we won't be discouraged. Your current position, we feel, does not match the urgency of the crisis at hand. But can you publicly commit to support 15% or 1 in 6 new homes built in developments on private land for affordable rental housing?
Look, I think it is absolutely important that we start somewhere, and we are certainly very encouraged by the fact that our testing shows 5 to 10% works across Greater Sydney. It's not to say that on some sites a higher proportion certainly can't be secured, but that is something we need to test and to be very realistic about. This is a balancing act that we have to take. This is something that we need to start, and we need to have this greater consistency and certainty. Many systems around the world have increased their proportion, but I think it's important to realise you have to start somewhere, and that you certainly are not comparing apples with apples when you do look at alternative planning systems around the world. I've worked in the UK for close to a decade trying to secure affordable rental housing and affordable housing across some of the most impoverished areas. And I can certainly say that it is a different system. It is a system that is supported by government subsidies to increase the proportion. In New York, talking to my counterparts there are different tax incentives and opportunities. We need to design a system that's bespoke for Greater Sydney, and that's what we're very conscious of. Something that doesn't kill the very thing we need, which is greater housing supply and choice.
Okay, as to the economic viability, we'll be addressing that with expert analysis delivered by Professor Randolph in a moment. Will you mandate an additional percentage of affordable rental housing for moderate income households, given that your current plans do not adequately address the housing need for this huge group of people and families in Sydney?
Well, you're quite right. By definition, if we include the moderate income, it's half of Sydney-siders would be eligible for affordable rental housing. So we tried to focus on the most vulnerable, the very low and low incomes, to address their needs first and foremost. And we've been complementing that with existing planning mechanisms, the Affordable Rental Housing SEP, that secures outcomes for moderate income households. But we haven't stopped there. We recognise it's incredibly important to provide a diversity of outcomes, and there are a range of mechanisms that our plans are looking at the moment for moderate income households, more compact housing options, and what we're really investigating further and trying to develop further is a build-to-rent model that is a longer-term tenure and rental opportunity for people. But we are listening. We have heard very loudly and very clearly from good organisations such as yours of the importance of addressing the moderate income household group, and it's something we're really keen to test and develop further.
Okay, we weren't expecting that. We've heard you offer a rent to buy. Some sort of rent to buy?
Well, our plans very much encourage the sector, the development sector, to investigate build to rent, and it's something that we're investigating how the planning system can better support that alternative option. So that's certainly something that our district plans last year identified, and we've had a really good response from the industry sector.
Excuse me 1 second, do we need to caucus that? I think we do. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to call the Inclusionary Housing Team, Action Team, where am I calling them to? Over here? Yeah. This is what we do, we don't make snap decisions. So what we want to do is get everybody here to introduce yourself to somebody you don't know and make sure that the person you're speaking to knows how unaffordable rental housing or any sort of housing issues that you have affect you and your families. So just speak amongst yourselves for a moment. Okay, Sarah. That was a bit out of left field. We haven't heard either the rent to buy or build to rent.
Absolutely, it's referenced in our district plans.
Okay. Well, we'd like to come back to you on that at another time. We need far more.
We're very keen
detail
to
on it,
discuss how we can make that work.
Fabulous. Okay. Now, on to the next question. Would you agree that under your current plans, the final percentage of affordable rental housing in new developments will not actually amount to 5 to 10%, that is 5 to 10 homes in every 100, because the percentage is only applied to the uplift after the rezoning and not on the entire development?
Yeah, again, our district plans have been very clear and we've been very transparent about the fact that it's on the uplift. And as I explained earlier, it's 5 to 10% on the increase, the additional dwellings. And for good reason, in the sense that we are very conscious, mums and dads own their existing homes. If they're selling their homes, we don't want to take a levy on their existing properties. It's on the uplift to incentivise development to happen and to fund the affordable rental housing through that mechanism.
Okay, well, we're disappointed with that one again. We understand that your present perspective doesn't match ours, but we won't be discouraged. Your current position, we feel, really does not match the scale of the crisis.
Well, as I said, we're working very much across the housing continuum. There are many pieces of the jigsaw puzzle, as your submission refers to make a holistic approach to housing across the city work. This is one component of the many elements that we're working to achieve.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
I missed the question.
I was waiting for it.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. Okay.
You're doing a good job.
All right. Greater Sydney Commission. How many affordable rental homes do you expect your existing plans to deliver across Sydney over the next 10 years?
Look, it's a very good question, and certainly as we hope the policy takes effect and as the market begins to absorb it better, that rate will increase. But we're hoping that we will be able to secure not only many hundreds but many thousands of homes for people such as Nadine and Les. So we're hoping that we can build on that and it become part of our broader planning system.
But you must have projected
It is very
numbers.
much dependent on the market and on the locations and the councils that we can work with to secure it. So as I said, we are calculating what an appropriate proportion will be and how that will translate. But we're keen to secure as much as we can.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We don't shout out. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Okay. I think I'm just going to leave that there and hand it over to Louise.